Okay, it's 7:31. I think we're going to get started. We can always catch up people or this is being recorded. The recording has actually started. So I want to welcome all of you. I'm glad that the crew that's here tonight didn't have another meeting. I'm going to try to work out something for the future on a different date, and hopefully that'll help us all. Most of you already have figured out I'm Toby Mazer. I'm the PrezNet moderator. And moderator to me just doesn't mean that I kind of lurk in the background and make sure everything looks good, but I stick my 2 cents in every time I think it's needed. And I want you to feel comfortable enough reaching out to me anytime that you need to. But before we get started with the business that I have for tonight, I want to introduce or reintroduce to many of you, Debbie Kaner-Goldich, who is our international president, and she'd like to say a few words to you tonight.
I would. It's so nice to be with you. I recognize many of your faces and your names. And for those of you that I don't know, it's nice to meet you again for the first, nice to meet you for the first time. I want to thank Toby for all that she does to make your job a little bit easier. I remember being a sisterhood president, and I remember that it was a very difficult job. So we try on the international level to do everything we can to make that job easier for you. And what we want to say is that there's always someone to help you, whatever issue you're having, whatever challenge you're having, please let us know. You can let Toby know. If you want to do it privately and not on the PrezNet, you can send her an email, and Toby will figure out the right person in the organization to help you with whatever your challenge is. We have people that are specialists in communications, in finance, in membership issues, in programming issues. And so whatever your challenge is, let Toby know, and we will get someone to help you. And I want to thank you for taking the time out tonight to be with us. We know that you had lots of other options, and we're just really happy that you chose to be with us. So welcome, and thank you, Toby.
Thank you, Deb. Okay. I want to, it may sound like I'm going in all different directions, but there's a bunch of things that I'd really like to talk to you about. And forgive me if what I'm saying doesn't apply to you, but it's something that I want to let everyone to know about. I think a lot of you have come to realize that the PrezNet is a good resource. When you become a sisterhood president, it gets a little bit confusing sometimes. You think you're at the top and you're going to be all alone. Well, here at Women's League, we feel that you are one of our most valuable resources. We hope that you share whatever you learn, whatever you hear, all the emails that you get, and sometimes there are too many in one day, but they all have some value. We don't take the time just to send out the emails unless it's something important that we need all of you to know about. So please, when you do get those emails, open them up. Just don't scan through them, really read them, and then decide if you're going to delete it or save it. There's a lot of information that comes out every week, especially in this past year and a little bit over a year. Zoom has become our friend and a lot of times not our friend. There have been so many meetings on Zoom that we've had, but it's also given Women's League a chance to really, really open up and give opportunities to every single member of Women's League, all 40,000 women that participate. There's something for everyone, whether it be learning Hebrew, getting ready for a bat mitzvah, leadership skills that are not only used in Women's League, but we've taken those leadership skills to heart as parents, daughters, grandparents, and in the financial workplace, wherever you're getting paid to go to work. So we really want you to appreciate everything that we're sending out to you. Those emails you should be getting every single week include the Shabbat message, and the women who are doing those are switching up every week, and Debbie throws in one whenever she feels it's important for it to come directly from her. But there are other members from Women's League who have given us some unbelievably wonderful, heartwarming messages every single week. The other one is Women's League Week at WL Week. If you are not getting one of those emails, please, I started off the chat putting in my name, my email, and my phone number. Please contact me and I will make sure that you get those messages. Okay. How do you get those messages? Well, at the beginning of your term or the end of the previous term, there's a profile on the Women's League website that absolutely must be filled out. And the reason that I'm bringing that up right now is because on June 30th of every single year, that profile gets put into the previous year, and you need to fill out again before July 1st who the president and the top leaders, your executive board of your sisterhood are. If you don't have those by July 1st, at least get the president in there. Otherwise, you will be locked out of the website. You'd have to get in touch with Razel for her to put you back on. Is there anyone here who does not know who Razel is? Looks good. Looks good. Okay. Razel is well, now she's a face of Women's League. We get to see her on the Zoom every day at 12 o'clock. But she is the one who does most in the office. And talk about invaluable resources. I don't think there's anything about Women's League that she doesn't know. And Debbie's catching up real quickly. This far away. But you know, it's always been call Razel and she'll help you. And but we'd rather you call me first and I'll direct it for you. So so we need you.
There's a question.
About the July 1st, you said by June 30th, it has to be done obviously before July 1st. It can be done now, or is there is it okay to do it now, or do we have to wait till June 29th?
30th.
Debbie, has it been updated yet by Max?
No, it has not been.
Okay, but usually around June 1st.
Okay, we should look for it then. Okay, thank you.
There'll be a new year listed. The next year will be listed, and that's the one you fill out before you finish your term.
I will put out a notice to the PrezNet when I know that's open and you can start filling in next year's.
And the voice you just heard, Toby, do you want to explain?
I don't know where it is on your screen, but it's dead center on my screen. It's a black box that says Renee Ravitch. For her own personal reasons, she's not showing her face tonight, but she is head of consulting services. And so she knows just about more than a lot of other people about what's going on, and is a wonderful resource. And that's why she's asking Debbie if it's open yet. But as soon as it is, Renee will let me know and I will put it out on the PrezNet for you and let you know that the profiles for next year are ready. You'll see, I'll really outline it for you, exactly what to look for and where to put it step by step. And as long as we're talking about communications back and forth, many times I have asked you to please put in your full name, your sisterhood, your city, and your email when you put something on the PrezNet. It's great when I say Toby Mazer and then I put CGLR Sisterhood in Chicago. Okay, except that nobody knows CGLR is it a sisterhood? Is it the region? Is it whatever? So I need you to really spell it out and put that information in, especially if I want to reach out to you. I can research it and find out who you are. But if I just see an email or your first name and no city and no sisterhood, it makes it that much more difficult for us to really communicate. You may be talking about a program that worked really well on the East Coast, and somebody on the West Coast wants to know more about it. They have no way to reach you, and they could end up calling you in the middle of the night or too early in the morning, because don't forget, there's all those different time centers going across the country and in Canada. Please don't forget, this is an international organization. So back to the profile. Once you put in the information for 2022, 2021 to 2022, you will still get everything until June 30th as president. Now, have all of you gone onto the website and signed in? Okay, because once you do, you'll see that once you log in, it comes up with sisterhood information for you. And the people who get that information are you, your vice president, your treasurer, your financial secretary. Those people have access to be able to change things, to do things on there. So those are the absolutely important names. All of the others are important so that region people can contact their parallel chairs in the sisterhoods. We don't want anyone, even, Judaica Shop and Israel Affairs and your vice presidents of programming and Torah Fund. We want to make sure that we have information that helps us to reach out to those women in your sisterhood. It's important. The same way I have these meetings for you and I contact you, the same thing goes for Torah Fund and the other arms of your particular sisterhood. All of that is important. So it's important to update that you have the opportunity to update the information in that profile. If it changes throughout the year, you can go in and change it. But I really need to know who the presidents are. So many of you do sign up for the PrezNet. You've realized that somewhere along the line, something I say hits your sisterhood. And that's why I'm here. That's why I enjoy having these meetings. And that's why I call it the Kvetch and Kvel, because it just gives us time to get this information out, and then you can share information with us. If you've been on the website in the past couple of weeks, you'll notice some major changes. And I don't know about you, but I find, and I'm pretty familiar with the website and know where to find things, but I find that some of the changes that are occurring have made it so much easier to navigate that website, to find things. The meetings at the PrezNet that we've had in the past have all been recorded and put onto there. And I'll get to you in 1 second, Linda. The meetings that we've had have all been recorded and are on there. And I was searching and searching and searching for them and couldn't find them. Now I can tell you exactly where to go to get them. So it is making it easier. It looks like something from the 21st century. And the whole idea of that website is to be a resource for each of you. Linda.
Okay, just a quick question. Hi, everybody, from Gainesville, Florida. If you're rotating off as president, do you no longer have access to the website?
Go ahead, Deb.
So you won't have access to the Sisterhood President's part of the website, but as a member, you always are entitled to go into the members only portal and look there. if you are the one in your sisterhood who continues to enter the database, for example, a lot of past presidents do that because they know how to do it and they're familiar with it, then you'll have access to that part of the database. But if you no longer are president and no longer enter the new members in, then you will have the opportunity to go in to the front page, the loading page of the database, and to the members only portal. And the members only portal is where we put all of the information, like the videos from programming ideas, and things that only the members are entitled to see. So
do you have to be listed as like a database manager in that
yes,
list to be able
so
to
when
not
we
get
talk
kicked
about
off?
when we talk about the profile, the
Okay.
names of the people that go on it are the president and the person who does the database.
Okay.
That's exactly right.
I'm actually continuing as president, but I was wondering, for people who
Right.
are not, if they get kicked off automatically. Okay,
Well,
great. Thank
we
you.
don't kick you off, we move you up.
Yes, over to members only.
We move you up.
Very gently.
Right to the region.
Toby, I think there's another hand up.
Yes, Lynn Landsberg. You need to unmute, hon.
Yes. It's still not clear to me if when you put all your members in the
Profile.
listing, in the profile with their email addresses and everything, do they get the weekly, or do we have to forward it? It's still not clear to me whether once you have their emails, if they will automatically get the Women's League information emailed to them.
Unless they opt out, they should be getting it.
So Toby, there's also a button that says subscribed, unsubscribed, bad email. You actually have to click on the subscribe button.
In the whole listing
In the whole listing, correct. You have
for
to do
each
that.
person, or
It's the column next to it. So you have to check off subscribe that they want to get it.
Okay.
If you, I want to say this very carefully. If you have an issue where you think you subscribe people and you have a membership of 150 people and you can't go back into each one individually, be in touch with Razel. I put Razel's email in there. Actually, I spelled it wrong. I will do it again. Okay. Spelled it wrong, but be in touch with Razel and she will go in and click on subscribe for all of your members. And she will do that for you. Okay. She's very used to doing that. If you have a large membership and you can't go back and click subscribe. But when you put a new member in, as you're putting in your newer people, there's a button that you click subscribe. And if you think you haven't done that with your members and you have a large membership, let Razel know and she will do it for you.
so she can subscribe
She
everyone.
can subscribe, yes.
Okay.
She did
Yes.
that. She did that for me because people were saying, I never see anything from Women's League. What's going on? And I told her I've updated the list. There are a lot of new people. Please make sure they get it.
And
So,
she will do that. Thank
that's
you,
good.
Linda, for saying that. Thank you, because she will do it. Just send her an email and say, everybody wants to be subscribed. Here are the 2 people that don't want to be. Please subscribe everybody. And she'll do that. And please don't look at the first. It's R. Kessler at
I
WLCJ.
put it under my name.
Thank you. I apologize. I was typing too fast.
Okay. The other thing is, if you
Excellent.
need help navigating that, you can call me and I can walk through it with you. Okay, Arlene, did you have another question?
Because I just went to the website and I don't see the subscribe column. So help me out when I'm at the membership listings. Where's the
You have to
subscribe?
go into each one individually.
Yes,
And
I
so-
did. And I don't,
When you go on the last tab, hold on one second.
there's not a tech. I mean, for me, I don't see a tab.
Okay, hold on one second. So I'll tell you exactly. Hold on. I have to go into the website. Okay, so you went in under manage members.
Yes.
Okay, and let's put your name in, Arlene. So if you put your name in and Southern Region, for those of you who don't know
Well,
Arlene, if you can't tell from her accent, she's from Southern. Yes. And then what happens, Arlene, is there's a little pencil. Okay, so your name comes up. It says Arlene Fisher, Temple, Bethel, Birmingham. And then it has your email and your address. And then action, there's a little pencil. And if you go to the pencil and you go to general information, it has your email, and underneath it is a box with a drop down. And one of the drop down is subscribed. So that's why I'm saying it's a lot of work if you haven't done this already at the beginning.
Right.
And that's why if you tell Razel, she will do this, because you have to go into each one individually. Okay.
Okay.
It's better if you do it as you enter new members, to do that with each new member. And if you can't do it because you have a large membership, ask Razel and she will do it.
Thank you.
Okay.
Can you see what I'm bringing up?
I see that.
So there's the little pencil.
I see the pencil.
Toby, if you click on that and open it up. Maybe. Not working.
You know what?
Huh?
She's not. Let me go into my own name.
Yeah, so in case you change it, you can fix it.
I'm the data manager for my sisterhood. So,
Okay. Is it clicking or no? But that would be the pencil, and you'll click it, and then on the right side is a little drop down. It says subscribed, unsubscribed, bad email, or no information. And you want to go to the drop down, you want to click subscribe, and then you have to save. So it's really much better if you do this at the beginning when you enter your new members at the beginning of the year. And if you have a large membership and you can't go back to everybody, send it to Razel and she will do it. She has a way to go in and do the whole screen without going in individually.
Yeah.
Thanks. Okay. Thanks. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
And don't feel that you are bothering Razel. That is what she does. That is part of her job. She's, does member services, and that's what she does. So don't feel that it's an imposition to ask her for that help. As Toby said, it's better if you learn how to do that individually. And if you need help, she can help you do that at the beginning with new members. But if you have a whole sisterhood to put in, Razel can do it. I just saw a question in the chat, Toby. I didn't, it flashed by. Can
more than one person be the data manager? Yes, they can, but be careful not to have too many people having access, because one person may go in and do something and forget to tell the other people that they're doing it. And you start getting into a mess where everything's going to get messed up. So I'm going to skip this part for 1 second, because one of the most important things that's been coming to me over and over again in private emails to me is communication. Okay, communication on every single level between sisterhood members and executive members, between presidents who are co-presidents. If there are no presidents and you have a presidium, or each of your vice presidents has taken a part of the president's job or whatever, communication seems to be the #1 concern. We all have access to many, many, many things, like more than one data manager, but don't forget, it's also your president and your treasurer and your financial secretary who have access to that database. And if one makes a change and the other one goes in and sees that change and has no idea why it was there and doesn't think it should be there, they're going to undo what you've done. So please, 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 communication all the time. It's so easy. You pick up your cell phone and you send a text to someone and say, this is what I just did, and you're done. Or you send them an email and say, I just did this and this is why. The biggest concern between presidents, if you're co-presidents or whatever kind of group that you have at your very top. So many places are going to consortium, co-presidents or 3 or 4 people taking parts of the job. But if you're not communicating, there's going to be a breakdown somewhere. And then you're going to be looking to me or someone else, please help us get back on track. This isn't working. So consulting services, if you find that you can't get a sisterhood president and you want to go a different route, and there are many different ways to do it, contact consulting services and have a consultant work with you at the beginning to sort out who's going to be doing what and what kind of communication is going to be needed between all of you. And even if you just have a president, that communication to the executive board, to her vice presidents, and to her general sisterhood population is important to get things right and to make sure that we're all on the same page. All right. Please don't ever forget that word, the communication part, because once that communication is broken down, so is trust. And we don't want that to happen. Every one of you are so important to making Women's League what it is. Every single person, whether you're a president, whether you're just a member, we are all in this together, and we're all in this to empower and enrich our own lives and do it together. So please, 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 I've gotten phone calls that X, Y, and Z person has been Torah Fund chair forever, and she hasn't kept up with all the new stuff. And when we try to talk to her, we can't. Well, even there, consulting services can help get you together, and let's talk about it and let's resolve it and make it better. We don't want anyone to be in the position forever, no matter how wonderful they are and how many steps they've instituted and gotten it together and know everything about it. But I know for myself, part of the reason that I love being a part of Women's League is because every time I do something and every time I learn something new, I feel better about myself. I've learned something new. I feel great for the rest of the day. As a teacher, I had door duty more times than I can tell you, watching the kids come in and then go out every single day. And the kids would look at me and say, we know, we have to say that we're going to learn something new today. And on the way out the door, we know, we have to tell you something we learned today. And it made the kids feel important that I was looking at that for them, but I was also looking at it for me, because half the time, 5 and 6 and 7-year-olds were teaching me something new that day. It could be the name of the kid they sat with in the cafeteria. It could be that they could figure out how to do 5 times 6 equals 30, not 31 or 29. So improving yourself every day is so important, because if nothing else, it makes you feel great. I'm going to start going right across the screen. Arlene, you have a question? Okay, your hand is still up, that's why. Ilana? You need,
yeah,
okay.
I did. I was going to tell you that what we did in communication is that Brenda and I, as co-presidents, we created a Brenda and Ilana Gmail account so that and it has our signature block together, so that everything, we didn't want someone, we didn't want to be a good cop, bad cop, or, have things fall between the cracks. So everything that comes into us, then when people respond, we both see the Gmail, and it's been really helpful to us. Also, we can kind of hide, and they don't know which one of us wrote the sternly worded email. We write them together, but it's really been helpful, even just, as long as we've had it. So
wonderful, wonderful tip. Thank you. And you did that when you first started. And that's what made the difference. You discussed that and put that in place when you first started, and it's really worked very, very well. And I'm glad I finally got to see you.
And people, someone was saying, well, I couldn't get a hold of you. And I said, well, did you, Brenda's here. If you send an email to this, we will both see it. So they can't use me as much.
Yes. Renee?
Have to mute, found the button. Okay, going back to something you said earlier about finding people to take over the presidency or any position, I just wanted to add that if there's somebody new that is a little unsure of what they're doing or need a little confidence booster, Consulting Services also provides mentors for all sisterhood presidents and leadership people. So just contact me. I did put my email into the chat, and I'll be happy to find a mentor for someone that would like it. So just wanted to put that out there too. There are a few questions also in the chat. I don't know if you've seen them yet.
Yeah, I was just going to address that. Michelle asked,
hold on one second, Renee, before you got on, I think I was telling everybody that we have experts in consulting services on every subject, like programming and finance. And so I'm glad you said what you said, because it's a repeat. And every subject, every challenge, every issue, you have someone that you can send out who can help them with that challenge, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
Sorry, Toby.
There are certain things that Renee knows. If a question comes up about that, don't call me. It's not my area of expertise. It's not something that I'm comfortable with. And she already knows that part of it. So she's very good at knowing who is the correct person to put in touch with you for help. One of the questions, Michelle, does it still say that if you remove a member, you can't ever put her back in? If you accidentally do that, contact Razel. She'll put it back in for you. Okay. Now, I know that the Women's League office is closed many days with holidays and everything else. I think they're starting to get back into the office. No, not at all yet. Okay.
Razel's there every Thursday, but if you call the office, the calls are forwarded to her house, and she answers her emails from any place, including the street in New York City. So you can always reach someone in the office. But if you need a product, she's only in on Thursday, and mail it to you. Yeah.
I've sent her stuff at weird hours and expecting an answer back on Monday or something, Thursday afternoon, and expecting an answer back on Monday. And I still get that answer Thursday night. So she's very quick. But if you don't get it immediately, please understand it's because the office is closed and she's working remotely. And so is everyone else. So, and as long as we're talking about working remotely, there's always a question about the Torah Fund pins. And what's going on with that. So I'd like to address a little bit of that. The Torah Fund pins are in the office at the seminary. A lot of them did not come in on time, and we can't get into the seminary. So it's been extremely difficult. I mean, I have my pin, and some of you may have yours, but some of you may still be saying, where's my pin? So I know that Barb Esring, who is Torah Fund International Chair, has been working on it very, very hard with a group of women who come into New York City when she's able to get there and get whatever pins are there to get them out to the sisterhoods. But because of all of that, what has been decided by Torah Fund and by Women's League is that this pin, the Biyachad pin, will continue to be the pin for 21-22. So even if you don't get your pin until just before Rosh Hashanah this year, it is still the pin that you will wear for the coming year. There will still be the donation of 180 or 360 or whatever level that you choose. That will still be asked of you, even though there won't be a new pin to go with it. But remember that that money, you're not buying the pin. That money is a donation to help us do the things for the rabbinical schools and cantorial, you know, the JTS and Ziegler, the 5 schools that there are. So those donations are what you get the pin as a thank you for that donation. So like I said, even though this coming year, there won't be a new pin, you will still be asked to make that donation for the year. Okay. I think I've hit all the questions.
I have one. My hand,
Whoever it is, go ahead. Marcia?
yes. Okay, so in reference to the Torah, I mean, the pin and the Torah Fund, our sisterhood got the pins. And to be quite honest, nobody liked them. And we've been getting a lot of that feedback. So when we found out what you just said, that it's going to be that same pin for the next year, the problem is, and Debbie Gerber is my Torah Fund chair, and you know, her worry as well as my concern is that people, as much as it's a donation, people look forward to getting that pin for their donation. And so everybody that got them this year may or may not decide to make that same donation next year because they already have the pin. Do you see what I mean?
Yes.
And I
yes.
think that's going to become a problem, not just with us, my sisterhood, because I happen to have, thank God, a very good sisterhood. And, you know, when I'm hearing it from them, and we came close to actually meeting the goal, but didn't quite make it because that goal certainly was not adjusted all things considered with this year, which perhaps it should have been. But anyway, you know, I think that's going to be a problem coming up next year.
Do you know what some sisterhoods are suggesting that they do for the coming year? If you don't like the pin, pick the pin that you have in your arsenal that is your favorite and wear that for the coming year. No one says you have to wear the pin of the year.
It has nothing to do with wearing it.
Even having it. I mean, you know, there have been pin. I wasn't crazy about last year's pin. You know what I called it? The skee ball pin. It had the semicircles on it, and it reminded me of playing skee ball when I was a little kid and went to the arcade. So, you know, every year there was one a number of years ago that looked like bowling ball pins. The whole idea of it is not whether you like or dislike the pin, because a lot of work does go into choosing the design for the year. It does.
I want to talk about
but
that.
The whole idea is your contribution to the seminaries.
I understand that. I do get that. And I'm just saying that this is the first year that I've heard the comments that I've heard about from so many people about the pin. And I know what you're telling me, and I understand what you're saying, but the average sisterhood member does not think that way. You know, so they think, okay, the pin is coming this year, I'll donate my money. And if the pin doesn't come, then they may not donate that money. That's what we're afraid of.
Then maybe we need to do some PR, like through Women's League Week or something like that, to explain what's going on.
Well,
and you know,
Torah Fund, not Women's League, but yes, that's actually in the process of happening. They're coming up with some talking points and public relations bulletins for the Torah Fund chairs and the sisterhoods. Toby, if I could have 1 minute,
Toby,
I want to
hold on, Diane.
Something real quick. Toby.
Okay, Diane, you had something real quick, and
yeah,
then
I just, you know, I agree with Marcia with the fact that our women really did not care if they got the pin. They bought the pin. They didn't care if they received it or not. But now they're saying they didn't like it, and to again make a donation for the same pin that they don't like, they're not willing to do it.
But like I said before, it's not about the pin.
The pin.
but to them it is. I understand what you're saying. It's a donation. It's I understand all of that. But to them, their mindset is they're giving this donation. The thank you is the pin. They didn't like it year one. Why are we doing it year two?
So I want to say something. First of all, if you belong to other organizations and you make a donation, you don't get a gift. This is a gift that Torah Fund and Women's League gives for your donation. I give donations constantly. I just made one today, a very large one, to a Jewish education school. I don't get a gift from them. I get a letter saying thank you for your text donation. So what we need to explain to our members is two things. First of all, we're not buying the pin. Doesn't matter whether you like it or not. It's a donation for the future of our movement. And the second thing I wanted to say to Marcia is that nobody sitting in a tower in New York City at JTS decides on the design of the pin. For those of you who don't know, the pin is decided on by your peers and your colleagues. We have what's called the Torah Fund Cabinet. There are 120 women from all over North America who sit on the Torah Fund Cabinet. They get 5 or 6 designs, actually 10 designs. They narrow it down to 5, and then they vote on which one they like. And this is the pin that those 120 women from all over North America voted on as the pin for the year. So it's not picked by the leadership of Women's League, the leadership of the seminaries, the leadership of Torah Fund. It's picked by your colleagues and your peers. If you don't like it, you are more than welcome. And I'm serious about this. You are more than welcome to send a message to Barbara Esring, who's the International Torah Fund Chair, and let her know, so that when she picks a pin for 2 years from now, they'll say, this wasn't a popular design. Let's not even go near anything like that. But the important thing is that you know that your peers chose this design. So I'll put Barbara's email in and you can send her a message. But I think it's important to know that this is a gift that you receive for your donation, and that many, 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 and most other organizations that are tax-free and ask for a donation do not send you a gift. This is a gift that Torah Fund sends you.
Sandy?
I'm going to share something, and I hope it doesn't, I don't mean to come across, I don't know, arrogant or elitist or whatever, but I was one who really didn't particularly care for the pin when we got it. I liked the last 2, whatever, but several of us that are on tonight go to the noon program, 11 o'clock for me in the Midwest, where we do the Pirkei, our vote, and the Psalms. And, you know, we've gotten, you know, a lot of us didn't know each other before. We've gotten, you know, close as a group of about 60, 70 women who come on. Not everybody comes on every day, but, and so over time, the fact that this pin means together has really struck a chord with me. And so I've started using it when I'm one of the communications people in my synagogue, as well as a president, because I write the newsletter. And I've started signing off and with biakad more than shalom or some other message. And so I think some of it is if you can start, for me, it's helped. I was very shocked when we switched, different people write Sisterhood President's messages because we're a presidium. So every 3 months, somebody else is writing something. And my Sisterhood President this month signed off with her message with biakad. It's getting around. So for me, you know, the pin's beginning to mean something different than it once did, because I think of the group of women that I'm together with, be it in the region or my sisterhood. So maybe that will help, because as I said, I didn't like it either, but you know, I wanted to wear it to try to get it across to my sisterhood. And so again, it's a very heartfelt thing to me. I mean, I practically don't take the pin off anymore, but maybe if people start thinking of what the message is, that might help communicate to others, because it did to me.
I don't know how many of you have been to an international convention, but if you fly someplace to get to that convention and you get to the airport, the destination airport, you'll see women walking all over the place with the pin. And those are the women you know you have to get to carpool with. So, because we're all going to the same place. So, you know, the pin goes beyond just being a piece of jewelry. It's a connection. It tells us that that we think the seminaries are important and supporting them, all 5 seminaries. And the support for them comes from the donation that you make for the pin. And if you try to explain it in those terms, then you get beyond what the pin looks like to the heart of the matter, what it's all about. And that's the important part. It is difficult. You know, every single year, there's always people who are not happy with the pin. The one thing they did change is most of the pins the last couple of years have silver and gold on them, so you can wear them with anything. Because there were complaints, you know, the pin is in silver, I never wear any silver, I'm going to put it away and not wear it. So most of the pins the last couple of years, if you look at them, both have silver and gold on them. And whether they like it or not, you know, like I said, if they don't, then make this Rosh Hashanah the year that everybody wears their favorite pin, and see what comes out of that. How many years. There was something going around on the PrezNet and on the Women's League net recently that someone was trying to make a board for the entranceway into their synagogue that had all of the pins on it, and they were looking for pins from the 50s.
Right.
So you know, it has that feeling of continuity, of support for, you know, if we didn't have the seminaries to give us our rabbis and cantors and educators, where would we go to get them? And if you've ever been to JTS in New York and get to go to the Women's League Sanctuary that's there, just the feeling that I knew I had something to do with that goes beyond any piece of jewelry that I'm wearing.
Or it is.
Yep. Yep. The year that I became, quote unquote, branch president, I was asked to do shacharit in that room. And that was the year that we had just gotten a new student rabbi, and she was a student at the seminary. And I asked, you know, I knew I was going to be nervous. Chancellor Schorsch was there at services that morning, a couple of other dignitaries, and Rabbi Ellen, which is not Rabbi Ellen Walnuts Fields. It was a Rabbi Ellen that we had at the time. And I did services in that room. And I don't think I will ever, ever forget the feeling that I had standing up there and leading that service. And we had a communication, you know, if I totally lost my train of thought or forgot what I was going to do, I'd be elbowing her and saying, you take over from here, just do it. I'll jump back in when I'm ready. But to be in that room and know that Women's League is the ones that raise the funds to do that for the seminary is just beyond words. Beyond words. Okay.
I'd really like to show you something really quick, if I can get it up to my camera. This is my late mother's seminary key from 1948.
Wow.
Wow. And I wear it on a chain with my parents' wedding rings, because she always wore it with my father.
Wow.
Been around, been doing good. You've been doing good for a long time.
So who knows, your daughter or your granddaughter may even like this pin at some point. It may mean something to them. So hold on to them and explain the reason that you have that you felt that giving to the seminaries was important. And for doing that, you got this pin as a gift. So I really, really want to go on. It's getting late already. Linda, is it something you want to share right now, or can you hold on?
Just real quick, I just wanted to say, we were talking about educating people about Torah Fund and what it means and everything. A few years ago, we had someone from one of the seminaries, and I'm going to forget who it was. A woman came and did a talk, and we had a lot of people there in our social hall. And I mean, that just brought it home. You know, why do we ask you for money for Torah Fund? And so having some kind of educational program where somebody from one of the seminaries comes and speaks might be a way of, you know, helping people to understand if they don't. Because I didn't get Torah Fund for a long time. I didn't really understand.
Yeah.
So
and this year, so many sisterhoods are doing or regions are doing their Torah Fund programs and having students because they can do it through Zoom. So it's made a big difference. And a lot, you know, students are always willing to talk to us, to tell us how much they appreciate our support, and knowing that we're there and saying thank you to them for putting in the time to do the work and become rabbi, chazan, educator, whatever. So, okay. I think I've hit all the questions. The profiles, communication, the transitions, I told you before June 30th. I will let you know as soon as the website is available to put in your 2021, 2022 leadership so that we don't lose getting into that and updating it. Are there questions, things that you'd like to talk about?
Toby, there's a question in the chat about Women's Connection Shabbat. Is there a sample Sisterhood President spiel for Sisterhood Shabbat? And if you go to the website and put into the search box 2021 Women's League Shabbat, it comes up with the page, and there are sample writings there that you can adapt to your sisterhood or whatever message you want to give. And the other ones are archived there too. If you just put Women's League Shabbat, there are messages from previous years too.
And especially for this year, because Women's League Shabbat was not necessarily on Women's League Shabbat. So a lot of the messages there were applicable to use anytime throughout the year. So, and that information comes out every year. Women's League puts it, you know, well in advance of Sisterhood Shabbat, which is in January. We know that. Women's League comes out with a whole bunch of materials, different readings, messages from the international president, from others, executive directors. I believe that there's a new education director.
Not director, coordinator of education and programs, Rabbi Margie Sella.
Thank you. So there'll be new stuff coming out for the coming year. But even the things that are up there from previous years, some of them just might hit what you're looking for your Sisterhood Shabbat. Questions? If I'm not seeing you, please just call out. You mean you all know everything already? We've done that good?
I have a question.
Yes.
Another one, not Torah Fund related. So in my sisterhood, which is a wonderful sisterhood, we run like a well-oiled machine, and we're very successful at what we do. However, what we don't seem to be able to do is get some kind of lineage going as to who's next in line to be president, let's say. And right now, I'm just starting my second term, and right now, there is no one. So the question is, how do you take somebody from no one to put them in line to get them in? Because nobody on my board is going to want to step into the position. What do you do?
It's not easy sometimes. You know, your vice presidents, even though they're in that position, and traditionally vice presidents knew that they needed to move up. Not always the case today. I always suggest, find someone you think who would be a good leader and take them out for a cup of coffee. And things are opening up across the country. I like to do it not in my home, not in their home, not in the shul. We go out for a cup of coffee and we just talk. What are your concerns? Most of the time, someone doesn't want to take the position because they're either overwhelmed, too busy, and they just have no clue what they're going to be doing. They don't have a plan for it. They've never done it before. And that's where getting in touch with consulting services, getting in touch with someone that you know who's either on the region or on the international level to talk with also, to let people know that they're not going to get thrown into a position and be left floundering in the water. That there's always support, there's always learning to be done, and that there are so many women who came before them who are willing to share their knowledge with them. And like Debbie had mentioned, Debbie and Renee had mentioned earlier, you can always have a mentor assigned to you. I've been a mentor a couple of times. I've gotten phone calls at 6 o'clock in the morning. I've gotten phone calls at 7:25 at night where the woman is saying, my meeting starts in 5 minutes and I don't know what to ask, how to get this done. Please help me. And I'm there. I'm there to ask questions. I'm there to virtually hold on to your hand and get you through it. And let the person know that they're not going to be alone. First of all, they're going to have their own board, which is supposed to work cooperatively. And if they don't know how to do that, consulting services will show them how. And they have peers on every level. Sisterhood presidents have region presidents who have the international president and other people on the same level as they are who can help them through it. And I find talking to someone, you know, there are actually scripts on the Women's League website for the nominating committee to approach someone and how to have a conversation. You don't call someone and say, I only need to talk to you for a minute. I know the kids, I hear the kids screaming in the background, but I only want to ask you a question. We need you to be president of Sisterhood. Can you do it? Well, obviously my answer is going to be, hell no. But so there are scripts on the website that can teach you how to properly ask the question. I've always found that face-to-face and doing it in a positive way, it's not that I need you. I feel that you have the skills to bring us to the next step in Women's League. And giving that person that pat on the back, even before they start, is very often enough to get them to say, well, if you continue as my co-president, or if I know that you're going to be standing there with me and I can rely on you for the next year to help, that more often than not, women will say yes. Edie?
Thank you.
In my own experience, I'm co-president now. When several years ago, I did 2 terms as either a co-president or president, and I needed to be approached many times over that year before, and been told that, yes, you can do it, until I finally did say yes. But also at that time, I was hesitant And I didn't think I knew anything, which I didn't know much really. But one of the other women said, who had been a past president, well, I'll be your co-president. And she was, and I really was more of the president with her help, of course, but she got me through it. And then I went on my own. And the same thing happened this past year when Suzanne was asked, and oh, you know, I don't think I can do it, blah, blah, blah. And I stepped in and I said, well, I will be your co-president. And I am, and I do a lot, but she's really doing more than, she's phenomenal, by the way. And it works out very well.
You can be a silent partner too.
Well, I'm not, but I mean, I do work, but she's really
Yeah.
doing more than me. And that's okay. I'm a lot older.
Most sisterhood presidents are elected for 2 years. So if the previous president says, I'll be your co-president for this year, and then next year you can take over on your own, or what's even more important, they can ask someone to be their co-president and work with them for a year. And then it keeps cycling through where your president, your second in command, if you know, the co-president, that's the newer one year, and then the following year you become the senior and you're training someone else. So you always have it going that way. So you always have the next person coming up. Very often in some of the consulting services, you'll hear someone say, your first job as sisterhood president is to find your successor. Start keeping your eyes open, your ears open, and find the person who appears to have those leadership skills. And once we start getting back together, I hope Leadership Institute will come back also. And those of you who have had the opportunity to attend a Leadership Institute, you walk out of there feeling you can conquer the world. Ilana?
I want to add also that I think it's really important. Some of the people who preceded us, they wore their misery on their shirts. I mean, there were people, so how I think we're, still figuring things out, but I think it's really important because some people don't realize when they're always saying, hey, I have to do this and I have to do this, then it's not a good selling point for trying to find someone down the road.
Someone just told me they had just finished their region conference, so it's in this last couple of weeks, and that the biggest comment that they got was that the president wasn't smiling, and they felt it brought down the entire conference. So you put that smile on. You even put that smile on when you're on the phone. You could tell on the phone if someone is smiling. So be, even if you've had a crummy day, be as positive as you can be, because that really comes across. So, I'm smiling on this Zoom, but that's because I'm doing something that I thoroughly enjoy. I really, really am proud to be in the position that I'm in Women's League and in my life. And, it comes through. I enjoy what I'm doing. I've had to work at it a little bit here and there. Sometimes, everybody's got their good days and bad days. But if I keep that smile on my face, I can turn it around. Big Bird is right.
I also find that expressing your gratitude to your board and sharing that information with others is so important. On every agenda, I thank them for volunteering their time. And when they've done something, even if it's part of their job, I thank them. And if it's something that reflects in something else synagogue-wide, I'm sure to mention, so-and-so was so very helpful as part of my board in helping us to accomplish this task. Because oftentimes we forget to thank people when they're doing the right thing.
Yes. Yes. So important. That thank you, whether you think you need the pat on the back or not, it still feels good. It really feels good. Okay. Maybe PrezNet should collect president's answers to the question, why did you agree to be president? That's interesting. And if you want to send them to me privately, I'll take some time each week and post a few of them. And maybe those will help you. Okay. Anyone else have questions? I'm trying to scroll through everyone who's here and see if I'm missing anyone.
Can I ask another question?
Sure.
My co-president and I are meeting with the executive director from the synagogue tomorrow morning, as it happens. And I just wanted to ask if anyone has any advice. I mean, we get along great. She's wonderful. She sets up our Zoom calls for us for our board meetings and everything. And she's great. But any advice about, I'm not sure where we're going with this. We just want to be on the same page and set things up for the coming year and so on. But if anyone has any advice, I would greatly appreciate it about what I might bring up. Because I'm sort of going in a little blank. I want to thank her for all she does.
Is she a member of your sisterhood?
She's not Jewish. And she's not a member of the sisterhood, no. She's a fabulous person, and she has 3 adorable kids who go to our school, who go to the day school, and they've been there since they were babies, and they're just a great family, and we love them, and we don't want to lose them. But anyway, so I'm not sure what to ask or what to talk about, or I want to make the most of the meeting because I've never done that before, and I feel like I should have at this point in my tenure.
5 or 10 years ago, I might have said to you, make sure she knows that you're just not there for the kitchen and the Hebrew school. But I think we've gotten past that stage in a lot of ways. And they realize that Women's League is here to empower ourselves and what we do for everyone else. So, let her know you want to work in a partnership, that there are things that Sisterhood does and just Sisterhood does. Not everybody in the congregation needs to be invited or be part of it or have a say in it, that there are Sisterhood activities that are just for Sisterhood members. And you mentioned that she's not Jewish, so she can't be a member of your Sisterhood. And that was true.
I don't mean that she can't, but
okay,
she's just not.
All right.
Never really thought about inviting her.
There's been a lot of talk the last couple of years about having non-Jewish spouses of synagogue members become Sisterhood members. The one thing I want you to understand about that is, even though each sisterhood is part of your region and of Women's League for Conservative Judaism, your specific sisterhood is autonomous to make some of the decisions that you want to make for yourselves. It still comes under the umbrella of the organization. And if you have questions about if what you're doing is correct or not, you can contact one of us and we can help you through it. But there are many, many sisterhoods out there who have done outreach to non-Jewish women who are spouses or significant others of synagogue members.
Can I also address, Linda, in a very similar way? I'm meeting with the executive committee next week, actually, to kind of pitch an idea from Sisterhood. And while I firmly believe that Women's League has wonderful people that are there for us to help us, and I'm sure there's someone that could help you with that particular question, you also need to know your own strengths. I have a sister-in-law who does what I needed help with. So I called on her and I said, how do I speak to an executive committee? In my life, I was a teacher. I never needed to speak to an executive committee before to try and convince them to do something that we wanted. And she talked about the different ways that, you're part of the synagogue community and how you help your synagogue by being kind of an arm of your synagogue. And also knowing the strength, the person that you're speaking to, and how involved she is, even though she's not Jewish and not part of your sisterhood with the synagogue, and how well you work with her, and to kind of build on that and start at that point. And I always do this little compliment sandwich where I start with the we work so well together and we're part of the community, and then in the middle there's the little, not the criticism, but the we can do better part. and this is what we need help with, and this is where we could, you know, use your advice or your strengths, or how can we help you more? And then ending again with a lovely compliment about how well you work together as part of the community and shore up and do for the synagogue in ways, like you said, and like Toby said, that no one else does for the synagogue. So,
Boy, Terry,
Yeah.
you are a teacher, because every teacher knows that hamburger.
Yeah.
Every teacher. It's called parent-teacher
you.
conferences.
And you
So,
know,
yes.
she talked about, you know, continuing to evolve and like moving forward and the ways that you can help the synagogue move forward. And if you want to talk to me privately, please feel free to reach out to me.
Thanks,
I
Terry,
just
very
wanna say
much.
that it's really good to tell the executive director all the things that you have done for the synagogue and the community. Sometimes those things are forgotten. If she's new and she doesn't know that you paid for the fire doors in the religious school, or you provide snacks for the Hebrew school kids every single day, or you put flowers on the bima every week. Those are the important things that you need to list and say, this is what we do. So
Hey, we help
embellishing on what Terry's saying.
pay for the roof.
You know what? And where would
Yeah.
they think without a roof, Linda?
That's right. That's right.
Those are the things that you
Yeah.
really
Thank
need to
you.
bring to the front and say, this is what we've done. Be proud of yourself.
Yeah. A lot of
Thank you.
congregations couldn't continue if it wasn't for the help of
Right.
Sisterhood. We're great at fundraising. We're great at putting together programs and dinners and everything else. And part of our treasury goes to the synagogue for whatever we'll do the fundraising for that. But these are the things that we do for Sisterhood. And it's not open for discussion. This is a Sisterhood project. This is a Sisterhood program. But there are other things that we'll want to do together or assist with. And feel free to reach out to us, and we want to work together.
Yeah, I have very good feelings about it because we do have a good relationship. She's a wonderful person. And I think she does know, the big things that Sisterhood has done for the synagogue and for our schools. So,
And if she feels the need to, invite her to something from Sisterhood and
Sure.
have her speak on behalf of the synagogue itself.
Toby, it's Nancy. I have a question to everybody here. Not as an individual, because there's a difference. How many of your sisterhoods have a position on you, not the executive board, but on the board of the synagogue? Because I am fighting because they keep telling me that my co-president who's on this has a position. She has a position of herself. She does not have a position on the sisterhood as a sisterhood, and that can be different. I know this from experience. And it really irks me to no end. And I have talked to the president about it until I'm blue in the face. Any ideas?
Sisterhood, Men's Club, any of those organizations are an arm of the synagogue, and they should have voice and vote on the synagogue board.
I think also the way you spoke about it, so one of the other meetings where it's like when they were one of the synagogues, I think it was Ada's, they were asking them to pay for all sorts of costs, and it was such a simple, brilliant answer. It's like, well, we can take that money off of what we give you. It's like to ask us if the synagogue wants to benefit from all the funds that they're getting, then part of that cost is, giving you a voice.
Nancy, if you want to reach out to me,
I will,
privately,
this is the other co-president.
It's the other half.
Yeah, we're having, it's not just this, we have
big problems, but that's one.
We have big problems with our board and our recognition. So this is just one part of.
But I feel like if we were sitting there, they would maybe have more knowing, but it's like, I don't know what's going on in the synagogue because I'm not there. I'm not on the board. And they don't know necessarily what's going on if Susan's not. She's sitting there as Susan, not as Sisterhood. There is a difference.
Well, I am.
I've been there.
Susan should have a position on the board. I took that under my wing because nobody else would speak for us. And we're having conflicts with our.
Well, we have conflicts with everything. They take
With
our dates
everything.
away like it's
We're
nothing.
constantly being
Shoved off the calendar.
Yeah, what I'm going to ask you to do is after we get off of this tonight, send me a private email and I'll see what I can do and what I can research and get back to both of you.
Just to let you know, history is Margie was supposed to talk to them and then something came up. It was before my time and she couldn't. It was when Margie was president. So
yeah. And that's the key also. Margie was president. Debbie is
and this
now.
was how many years back already?
Yes.
I mean, this was before.
We have had a history of being.
Yeah, even before Susan and I took over.
Yeah, we have a history of being second-class citizens in our.
Right. And I understand that. And that's why I'm asking you, send me your information. Just so I remember where you are.
Right.
And then I'll take it further and I will get back to you.
Okay, we can use a little help. Thank you.
I have to say that Michelle Sussman just wrote a public message that I wrote privately to Nancy, which is you have to check your synagogue bylaws to see if you are considered an affiliate or a committee. And if you're an affiliate, you're supposed to have a seat on the board. And if you're a committee, you may not. So you need to get a hold of your synagogue bylaws. And I'll also tell you that Ned Gladstein, who's the international president of United Synagogue, and I meet once a month. And these are the issues that we discuss. These and finances and all kinds of things. And I've had him check into some particular situations at some sisterhoods, at some synagogues, and he's made it better. They've gone through other channels. So Nancy, you can send that message to Toby and to me, but I think you and Susan need to find your synagogue bylaws and see how they consider sisterhood, and then we can move on from there.
Thank you. And I know, Debbie, if I email you, you will get back to me also in any hour of the day.
In half a second.
Some of us just don't sleep.
I'm in that group, so.
Okay.
All right.
We'll see what we can do to help you. And I wanted to go back to, let me see who, I think it was Linda, you're going to see your executive director. And I wanted to recommend that if you have a new executive director or you have a new rabbi, it's always a great idea for the Sisterhood president to call and make an appointment and sit down and visit, just for the purpose of getting to know each other and to use that word partner and collaborate. The rabbi can be an incredible support to your sisterhood and your executive director. So it's always a good idea at the beginning of every year to just make an appointment and sit down and visit.
Okay. I think we've covered quite a bit tonight. Like I said, this is being recorded, so you can always go back to it. When you respond to a message that's been put on the PrezNet, please try to trim the message down a little bit, or start a new message. I know if in my emails, if I type WL, it fills in Sisterhood PrezNet because that's where it all goes. So automatically it just happens. And I don't want to get a string of 9 messages about the same thing, or halfway through it, it changes to a completely different topic. So be careful how you use your emails. I need to know who you are. I mean, Marcia right now has HPCT-CAE. I have no idea what it is. It could be her work thing. It could be her temple thing. But that's why I'm asking you, please, please make sure that you put your sisterhood, your position, you know, I know you're all presidents, your email, your phone number, if you want me to call you back. Make it easy and make it so that everyone can see. You know, if something comes up and your sisterhood has 300 sisterhood women, is that particular thing going to be applicable to me? I have a sisterhood of 21 women. We have 50 people in the shul. People, not families, people in the shul. So, you know, it makes a difference when I'm looking at something to understand this. So please, please, please use the full information. You know, it's a couple extra lines of typing so that we know exactly who we're talking to, and trim those messages, or if you feel the need, start a new one. And be careful. If you want to talk to me privately, don't send it to the PrezNet. Send it to me directly.
People always reply when they get those messages, and they don't realize they're replying to everybody. And they'll be sending, you know, an obvious message just to the person who sent it.
Yeah.
And they don't really want me to know what their personal things are, but I get all these messages and it gets really annoying. And I know a lot of people who have, you know, stopped getting those emails because they can't stand getting all these spam. Oh, it's basically spam when people reply to a listserv and it goes to everybody. So it's very, very annoying.
Alana writes, why is it that when I post a message, it never shows my message is posted? I just figure it out when I get answers. Something that I always do is in the BCC, the blind copy, I put my own email back in there, so I know if it's been sent. So, you know, I could check it that way. If I see it come up in my own email, then I know that it did go through. Oh, sugar, there was something right out of my head that I was talking about before we even started. You know, one of the things that happened for tonight is when I sent out the email with the link for tonight's meeting, in bold letters, I wrote, this meeting will be recorded. And yet I got 6 additional messages between last night and this morning saying, I can't be there. Will this be recorded? So, you know, it's frustrating. I've taken the time to write out all the important information, but somebody only looked at the link and didn't read the rest of the message. So, you know, if somebody's writing to you, please take the time to look at it, especially if it's one of your sisterhood members. Okay. I think that's about it. We've been on for over an hour, almost an hour and a half. I can't thank each of you enough for being here. I hope that you got something important out of tonight. And if you're confused or don't understand something, or if it's something you'd like me to bring up in the future, what I plan to do starting in August is have meetings every other month. So, but like I said, I am always available for you. That's my love. That's my job. That's why I do this. So please, please, please know that I am there with my arm around you, holding you up and supporting you and thanking you for everything that you do for your sisterhood and for Women's League.